Hi, I'm Ryan Szymanski, curator for Battleship New Jersey Museum and Memorial. And today we're having a fire sale. What is the price of a projectile? One of our viewers went over to my Facebook page, we linked that in the description below, and asked a question of me that I didn't have an answer for at the time. How much did it cost to sink the battleship Bismarck? How much does it cost to sink a battleship? And Bismarck took a lot of effort to sink, so it's worth looking at that as an upper end. Maybe we'll do other battleships in the future. What's it cost to sink Yamato? What's it cost to sink one of the Pearl Harbor battleships? We'll see how you guys like this one. But they asked that very mundane question. I said, you know, I've never been able to find what the cost of a battleship caliber projectile was during World War II. And they did a little bit of research and got back to me by the end of the day that they had found some numbers for that. So now we have price tags on our projectiles. Now, these prices are from January of 1943, so a little bit after Bismarck is sunk. And they are for American projectiles, and specifically it seems Army projectiles. Unfortunately, the Army was using Navy 16-inch guns and Navy 16-inch shells. American Navy, so this isn't going to be a perfect number for Bismarck, but it'll give you a good order of magnitude to start working from. So, in 1943, when New Jersey is built, it costs $1,809 to produce a 16-inch shell complete with propellant. The propellant for a 16-inch shell costs about 28 cents per pound to manufacture, which means that firing 660 pounds of powder for this, let me check my price tag real quick, that would be $184.80, which means that the projectile itself cost about $1,624 to manufacture. In 1943, mind you. By 1944, just a year later, with full wartime production, that cost had dropped to $1,400 a projectile. So because they had so much trained staff, the time to make one of these went down, the equipment, the tooling was all ready, so the cost dropped by almost a quarter over 1 year, 1943 to 1944. Those numbers are almost certainly larger in most other countries during World War II, but it gives you an idea of where to work from and what one of these projectiles would have cost to make. Adjusted for inflation, one of these $1,800 projectiles from 1943 would cost $32,000 today in 2023, so 80 years later. So that's for a capital ship caliber gun, specifically 16 inches. What's it cost for smaller projectiles? This is a 12-inch round. I wasn't going to go through the effort to drag a 5-inch round up here, but the Alaskas were cruisers. I'll fight you on that. And so this is a cruiser caliber round. For cruiser caliber projectiles, $8.25. What about a 5-inch projectile? Ooh, $3.05, which means it would cost $54 to manufacture that projectile today. What number of shells did the Allies, specifically the Royal Navy, throw at Bismarck to sink her? I'm only counting the final battle here. Obviously, their aircraft expended a number of torpedoes against Bismarck. Obviously, Prince of Wales, Hood, Norfolk, Suffolk expended an amount of ammunition. The destroyers the night before Bismarck was sunk expended ammunition. Just in the final battle where they sink Bismarck, HMS Rodney expends 380 16-inch shells, projectiles roughly this size. HMS King George V expends 339 14-inch shells, so projectiles roughly this size. The cruisers and the secondary batteries of the battleships, 5.2, 5-inch, 6-inch, and 8-inch projectiles, 2,156 of these smaller caliber cruiser and smaller rounds are expended against Bismarck. Plus, Dorsetshire closes and fires 3 torpedoes. A torpedo during World War II cost roughly $10,000 to manufacture. That's about $176,000 today. So you multiply those by the numbers we've already given you, it cost about $1,348,458 in projectiles for the British to sink Bismarck. Obviously, that's not counting the manpower cost, or the food for that week that the ships were at sea, or the cost of the ships themselves, or the price of fuel that they expended sailing all over the Atlantic hunting for Bismarck, or the ships that were involved in the chase but not directly part of that final battle. So obviously there are some other numbers going on, but about $1.3 million is what the British expended in ammunition firing at Bismarck. What does it cost to build a battleship during World War II? The Iowa-class battleships cost about $100 million, not counting the armor and the guns, about $200 million all told. That comes out to about $3.5 billion today. Look right here, I've got a price tag for a Bismarck-class battleship. Bismarck-class battleship, if you want to drive one home today, 196 million Reichsmarks, which actually comes out to $490 million American in 1940, which comes out to $8.6 billion today. So for roughly $1.3 million, the British were able to sink a $500 million warship. Not a great exchange rate. Why does Bismarck cost twice an Iowa-class battleship? One reason is it's a smaller production run. Not just that single ship, but the whole German shipbuilding industry. They didn't have nearly so many battleships being built. Bismarck had the highest percentage of weight devoted to armor of any battleship ever built. Face-hardened armor is extremely, extremely expensive. Armor is the Iowa-class dump stat. The Iowas have relatively thin armor compared to other last-generation battleships. And so the cost of Bismarck ends up being significantly more expensive. So what do you think? Can you afford to put one of these bad boys in your driveway? Let us know in the comment section down below. If you can afford to, call me. We've got some maintenance projects going on the ship that we could use some donations for. Are these numbers surprising? Like, I was kind of amazed how cheap these shells were. Even given the inflation, I couldn't believe how cheap it is to buy these shells. Even given shooting out practically their entire magazines and running the ships to empty, it's relatively cheap to sink an enemy battleship with shell fire. Battleship New Jersey receives operating support from the New Jersey Department of State, also from a number of other businesses and private individuals like yourselves. We really appreciate your support. There's a link in the description below if you'd like to donate to support the ship. You can't have a battleship in your driveway, but by donating to us, you can keep a battleship here on the Delaware River. You can also support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing so more people find about the museum and our channel. Thanks for watching.